So yeah, hey guys, welcome to another one of my Comicsgate News weekly videos with Underground Geek, Underground Weeb, Underground Muffinbear. I go by many names. If you get the Muffinbear joke, then you're the man or the woman. But I want to thank everybody that helped me get this video together. I have my own group of uh, they're called the He-Man Women Haters, and it's a play on words from a friend of ours that has a harem chat where it's like a bunch of women and one guy. Well, this is a bunch of dudes talking about misogyny and stuff. So we get together, we get in a group chat, we talk about things, and I said, "Oh crap, guys, I got to do my news video. I got to get this going. I got to hurry up." And I was like, "What should I talk about besides the things I already have?" And they're just like, "Bam, bam, 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 bam," just hitting me with all this good stuff. So I really appreciate them doing that and helping me out. It's going to be people like Edwin and people like Rod and people like Q. You guys know who you guys are. So I want to talk about a few things here this week. We're going to talk about Comic Historian. We're going to talk about the writer of Black Bolt. We're going to talk about Deathstroke versus Batman that's coming up. We're going to talk about Gotham by Gaslight. Some comments made by Mags Massaggio and a live stream that we had the night before last. It was very fun. But let's get started here. First, I want to start with Comic Historian. So he throws this bomb down. I think it was last night. Just an absolute bomb. And then he pinned it now. He pinned it as a tweet after all this stuff that's going on. And it really just kind of blows my mind because he don't understand the community. And you can tell that. This dude is out for the money. He doesn't care about anything else. He has moved on now into the realm of a shill. And so I just want to talk about this tweet that he came out with. This is after all this stuff that's going on here lately. He's intentionally trying to start a fuss with other people. And then whenever he gets called out on it, he wants to call neutral ground. That's what they always do. If they're getting attacked by both ends, they just want to, say, "Oh, well, I'm sorry." And so this is his tweet. He says, "Let me clarify something for you guys." That's always a trigger right there. If an SJW comes out with "let me clarify, let me specify, let me be clear," they're about to say some bullcrap. He said, "For you guys in this quote-unquote fight for comics culture." Oh my God, what they always have to dehumanize and delegitimize anybody before they talk about them. That's another SJW tactic. "Some of us just don't care. Not everyone is on a side or cares what the editorial staff of a company is doing. Then that's a problem. It's stories that revert once poor sales happen. I just don't buy or discuss books I didn't enjoy." Okay, that's perfectly fine. But what you've just described is a normie. You're a normie. You're not a comic fan. You just read what you like and you don't discriminate against books that are bad because you're afraid of what they're going to say about you. That's a cop out, and that's being a coward. If you're not afraid to say books are bad, then we can't trust you. We can't trust what you're saying if you only say books are good, because some of these books that you bring up are not good. I'm sorry. And you never talk about the bad stuff, which could save people some money. You would rather take money from people than you would, help people save any money. And that's a problem. That is a big problem right there. So yeah, that's all I want to say about that. That's some garbage. There's this thing going on right now where he did a live stream with Ethan Van Sciver, which is an artist for DC, and it was a very long live stream. It was very boring. We had a live stream at the same time. We quit it whenever he started, and then they started talking. You could tell Comic Historian he's just a guy. I mean, you can tell that he's obviously a fan of comics because he knows comics pretty well. But the dude, all he does on YouTube is read comics in a dramatic fashion. He's a voiceover. I mean, that's all he is. and he doesn't care about the culture. That's pretty obvious. But anyway, he's just going to continue on with his Richard Spencer purple haircut, ascended Super Saiyan Hitler, and then he's just going to, whatever. Moving on. So Saladin Ahmed writes for Black Bolt, and he was getting a lot of good reviews for Black Bolt. So naturally, his first instinct was to go on Twitter and start calling everybody Nazis and telling everybody that he's Muslim. Because that's what you do when your sales are good. You try to sabotage them. So now he's got this new book, and I'm trying to find a picture of it here. It's called Abbott, and it's based in like 1970s Detroit. The worst possible era that you could be in, and the worst possible place that you could be in. And don't that look like a chick right there that you'd want to read a book about? Don't that look good to you? I mean, I want to read it. So basically, it comes out with this book, and it's about, shocker, racism. And there's a thing here about Dearborn, Michigan, Detroit, Michigan, and it's garbage. He says right here, he said, it's Arabian Nights meets Lord of the Rings. That's one of the elevator Hollywood pitches you might give it. I was like, oh my God, dude, you're anything but those two things. But yeah, he had this book came out. I'm suspecting it's not going to be very good. We'll see how the sales go. I'm sure issue 1 will do really good because, they'll overdo it. But I just don't understand when these guys, if they're doing good, like, shut your mouth. Just, put in the work and quit trying to sabotage everybody else that's helping you write this book. It says right here, he says, employed by the scrappy Detroit Daily, Abbott lives and works in a city that's undergoing major changes in a complicated era after the 1967 riot. So, quote unquote, racism. Oh my God, dude. That's what we need right now is more racism. They make up these fake things. They want to go back. It's what we talked about before. They want to go back in time. They want to go back in time because times are too good nowadays. They can't use it as an example, so they have to go back to the time when there was problems because nobody's racist anymore except for these people. Gosh. Anyway, moving on. We've got this new series coming out for Batman. It's going to be Deathstroke versus Batman. It's going to be by Christopher Priest. So I'm kind of excited. I want to see what it's about. And it's very cool because, I guess Deathstroke's going back to the way he was before he turned good in his latest book. And so it seems like it's going to be very fun. I'm very excited. It says the epic confrontation was already portrayed in video games in recent years, with Deathstroke appearing as the main antagonist in Arkham Origins. I remember that. And then popped up later in Arkham Knight. Priest has proven to be more than capable writer to handle such a title, having added layers of sophistication to Deathstroke that were previously absent for the character. His first year on the title broke down Slade Wilson's motivations, establishing the importance of his supporting cast with a complex story that doesn't hold the reader's hand. Yeah, I agree. That's a pretty good assumption of the book there. So I'm very excited to see where this is going to go. It can't be bad. It can't. Because you've got Batman and Deathstroke, two high-T alpha males going at it. So this is going to be good. Definitely check that out. Next, I've got Gotham by Gaslight is finally out. It came out this week. The director is Sam Liu. It's an animated movie about what if Batman was Batman back in the day in the Victorian era. And he's starting out pretty strong, but now he's having to investigate the murders by Jack the Ripper. So this is going to be really cool. And I'll see if some of these images will come up here where you can see them. That's some of the advertisements there for it. I mean, that's awesome looking. Gotham by Gaslight. You got some cool shots there. They give it a 7 out of 10, which I know IMDb is not usually somebody that you want to listen to. There's Catwoman. I mean, it looks pretty dang fun. I'm pretty excited about it. I haven't got a chance to watch it because I'm trying to catch up. I just got done watching Sword Art Online, the movie, and now I'm trying to get around to watching the Godzilla Monster Planet, and then maybe I'll get around to watching Gotham by Gaslight after that. But I'm definitely excited about it. But check that out. Just want to let you know that that's out and that it's doing pretty well. Now, moving on to another subject. I'm going to try to bring up the pictures here. So Rich Johnston is a reporter for Bleeding Cool, if you want to call that what it is. And recently, he came out and started arguing back and forth with John Malin and a couple other people. John Malin's an artist for Marvel. And so this comes up, and he starts getting accused of not being a good journalist, you know, because he's not very ethical, he's not very objective. Everybody on his staff attacks people on Twitter, which is the opposite of what a journalist or a reporter does. They're supposed to be objective. They shouldn't even be on Twitter, okay? And so he comes out and he says these things like this right here where he says, why? I haven't been hired as a journalist. I'm a reporter. And then there's another one where he says, but I have no journalistic qualifications, and journalism is a profession. And then he says, I do have standards, but I'm not a journalist. And I have repeatedly said that on Bleeding Cool as well. So there he is right there. He comes out 3 different times, and this is from Marmaduke fan, saying that he's not a journalist. He's a reporter. Well, I know there's a difference, but if you're going to bring up that kind of stuff, then obviously you're not very ethical. If you're going to use that as a cop-out, it doesn't matter what they call you. If you're not doing your job properly, then you're not either of those things. And that's just the way it is. And so there you go. There's 3 examples right there busted on Twitter saying that he's not a journalist, he's a reporter. Okay, so what you're saying is you're doing the cop-out because you can't do your job properly. It really just blows my mind. Like, he's attacked people multiple times. He's popped up on my feeds before just because I mentioned Bleeding Cool. I didn't even tag him. I just put Bleeding Cool. He popped up within 5 minutes and started making snide comments. I mean, that's not what a journalist or a reporter does. So that's obviously he doesn't have any qualifications, and he just said it himself. Moving on. Next, I stole this from Diversity in Comics on his Twitter here. Magdalene Visaggio is somebody that is a problem. Okay, she was hired based on her gender preferences and not her qualifications, and so she goes on Twitter, says she wants to bash all cis people on the head with a baseball bat. And cis people is anybody that has the original gender, so it could even be gay people. And then after that, she gets hired, or she wins a contest and gets a mentorship by Scott Snyder, one of the best writers in comic books. And after that, she starts changing her attitude a little bit. You know, she starts being more like an employee on Twitter, being a little bit nicer. So I made a comment, or I did a review of her Transformers versus Visionaries, and I said it's a pretty decent book. You need to check it out. And just like clockwork, she went online, started going crazy again. And then you have this moment right here. This is going to stand in infamy in her career. You don't do this online. You don't say this kind of stuff, because this stuff is dumb, and all it's going to do is hurt everybody else that works with you. She says, that feeling when you want to promote socialism but have to write comic books based on action figures. And then has a gif of the song, Nothing's Fine, I'm Torn, I'm All Out of Faith. There's so many things wrong with this. First of all, don't be promoting socialism just because that's not good for your job. Second of all, you're saying you have to write comics based on action figures. Where do you think the action figures came from? From the freaking comic books, you moron. And that right there is a jab at masculinity, because what she's trying to say is I'm having to write comic books based on action figures. And she's talking about Transformers and things like that because, you know, they originally did come from the toys and all that kind of stuff. But do you not like your job? Do you want work? Like, do you just need to quit and start writing fanfics again or something? Because what's going to make you happy? Like, what's going to make you happy in this situation? Obviously, you can't be happy. I mean, this is a direct sabotage. If a man had done this and he had put when you want to promote capitalism on there, they would have ate him alive. Ate them alive. Dinner. Done. I don't get it, guys. I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense to me at all. I don't understand why she's still in the business. I don't understand why she's working with Scott Snyder, one of my favorite writers of all time. It boggles the mind. It's mind-boggling, guys. It's mind-boggling. So, moving on, our last story today is about one of the people that she's had some run-ins with, John Malin, which is a great artist. He works for Marvel. He's on cable right now, and he's also funding his own project, which is this image right here. And he told us a little bit about it last night, and it was freaking awesome. But here's a little, here's a video live stream that we did last night with him. It's on Captain Friggle's channel. He just pops in there. We're on our scheduled live stream, and then he pops in the comment section. They said, "Hey, you want to come on there?" And he's like, "Yeah." So then he just pops in the live stream. How many comic book pros at Marvel or any of the other big comic books would just do something like that? Would just say, "Hey, okay, I'll pop in there." Who does that? I mean, that was so nice of him. But let's listen to a little bit of it here.
But what they said to me was, "I'm not here to stroke your dick," and they said that plainly. And if I was a woman and they said, "I'm not here to mess with your vagina," you know, how does that
double
person,
standard?
how do they have that job the same day by their own standard?
It's a double standard.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's disgusting. It's evil.
Do they tell you you're not going to work for them?
It is.
And that's just a little bit of the video there. But he talks like a normal dude. I'm sorry for the language, by the way, but he talks like a normal dude. I mean, he's just a regular guy. And yet he can do this awesome work like he does on cable and talk to people like normal people. That's what we need back in comics. We need regular dudes in comics. We don't need freakazoids like this right here trying to push socialism in books, complaining about her job. We need these guys right here that want to work. But if you want to see that video, it's on Captain Friggle's channel. It's Friggle Force Chat with John Malin, Yellow Flash, Underground Geek, HP, and Geek Wonder. And so, yeah, it was really fun. And had a good time. But that's pretty much all I got, guys. Thanks for watching the video. That's the news for the week. Sorry if I missed anything, but there's so much to talk about that I try to, mesh it all together. But hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Thanks for watching, and have a great day, guys. I'll talk to you later. Underground Geek out.